Hello, I'm Christopher J. Thompson, and welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. There's been a trend going on, and it's been in this country, the way people are behaving and stuff, and it's been going on for quite a while. It really actually started getting really bad around 2010, 2011, and I see this hatred against a certain group of Americans by all these other Americans. They're just straight out hating them. And this hatred, I'm talking about Muslims. I'm talking about Muslims being treated, American citizens being treated like there's something wrong with them, like they're bad. All these people hating on them, when most of these haters don't even know what a Muslim is. They've never, they don't know who Muslims are. They've never met a Muslim. Most of these people before September 11th, if they even knew what a Muslim was, they thought a Muslim was a black guy in a nice suit with a bow tie, selling a bean pie and a black newspaper on the street corner. But now everybody hates Muslims, and it's really irritating me. It's really reminiscent of what was going on prior to World War II in Germany with all this anti-Semitism, and America's doing the same thing. It's not necessarily by the government, but the government allows the media to do this, and it's especially predominant in, well, I guess it's freedom of press, whatever, but that doesn't mean that, we have, the mainstream media doesn't say a lot of things because the government pressures them to not say it. But anyways, there's all this propaganda that's we could thank Joseph Goebbels, who was a Nazi, for propaganda, and we've used propaganda well. This country's used it a lot. It's mostly on the right, but even CNN, you have Don Lemon going on there on live television trying to say that most Muslims are dangerous radicals. And this is not just about this anti-Sharia law protest thing, which that's not what it is, and I'll get to that in a little while. But there's all this hate, there's all this propaganda, and when it was a while ago, I forgot what it was, but there was some guy who shot someone up or something. He was a radical Christian guy, and right-wing, they weren't allowed to say right-wing terrorist, they weren't allowed to say Christian terrorist, they weren't even supposed to bring up his religion at all. But then you see the media, anytime a Muslim does something bad, it automatically comes up. The first thing you do is you mention their religion. And this hatred's been going on for a while, and it's getting worse under Trump, who ran on a platform of hate. And he was trying to ban Muslims from certain countries coming in. And his campaign he ran on, he was going to keep them all out. Okay, so we're all running on this hatred, this prejudice. And let's go now to the anti-Sharia law protest. This is completely ridiculous. There's no Sharia law in America. There never will be. And then even though I've heard that what we think of Sharia law isn't Sharia law is religious law, that's more like the Jewish law, but we arrogantly think that the theocracies in the Middle East are what Sharia law is, which it isn't true. But anyways, that type of Sharia law that actually is a legal law, it's not in this country, it's never going to be in this country. You don't need states to make it illegal in their states, because the actual Constitution, says that forbids following any foreign law in the United States. So if it's not about Sharia law, what is it about? It's about hating Muslims. It's about fearing people that are different than you. We got a country where places shut down, keep Muslims from building places of worship, from building mosques, which is totally ridiculous. Their ability to worship and build houses of worship are protected by the First Amendment. No, but Christians only want to think that it only covers them. No, it also covers the religions you don't like, and that's the reason it's there. Okay, so these protests have been organized by Act for America. Well, what is Act for America? Well, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Act for America is an extremist anti-Muslim hate group. And Act of America was started by a Lebanese Christian by the name of, I don't know if it's Brigitte or Brigitte, I think it's Brigitte Gabriel. And this is what, okay, let's get to her. Brigitte Gabriel, one time I saw a speech of her where she claimed that 8% of Muslims were dangerous radicals, which is 80 million. She claimed that 80 million people, 80 million Muslims were radical Islamists, radical terrorists. And then in another thing I saw, she brought it down to 1%, which is still 10 million Muslims. So I'm sorry if there were 10 or 80 or whatever the Muslims that were terrorists, we'd all be blown up by now. I mean, there's a big there's several million Muslims in America. I think like 3 to 6 million. I don't know. I don't have an exact number. They're everywhere. I see them I see the Muslim women in the Walmart by where I live all the time. A lot of them. I've known Muslims. I've had Muslim friends. Back when it was okay to be a Muslim before September 11th, I actually almost converted to Islam, but it was too ritualistic, so I changed my mind on that. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful religion. I mean, if you like I really like the Sufis. The Sufis are less, they still have their ritualistic stuff, but they're more about music and expansion of the mind and like really being peaceful and getting in touch with God. Well, okay, let's get back to this thing. Okay, so Act for America. Act for America promotes this idea that Islam is a backward and seditious political ideology. A political ideology, not a religion. And they make sure, and a lot of the right-wingers, they do this, they make sure they call it a political agenda, ideology, because then, if it's a political ideology, then it's not a religion, and then therefore it's not protected by the First Amendment. No, it's a religion. I mean, it's no more of a political ideology than Christianity is in the United States, which has a lot more influence on our government, and especially here in Texas, the Board of Education is almost completely filled up by religious people who have no background in education whatsoever. Okay, so the Act for America, they claim that they're only against radical Muslims and not Muslims altogether. But then we have this quote by Brigitte Gabriel, and the quote goes like this: "If a Muslim who is a practicing Muslim, who believes in the word of the Quran to be the word of Allah, who abides in Islam, who goes to the mosque and prays every day, who prays 5 times a day, this practicing Muslim who believes in the teachings of the Quran cannot be a loyal citizen to the United States of America." Wait a second. I thought they said they were against radical Islam. She just made a statement there that all Muslims, well, a Muslim can't be an American because they're a Muslim. And I've seen this in people doing these comments and stuff like that. That is bullshit. That's no more true than saying that a Christian can't be American because they're Christian, or a Jew can't be an American because they're a Jew, or a Hindu can't be a Hindu, can't be an American because they're a Hindu. That's bullshit. And another thing of Act of America is preserving American culture. American culture is a mixture of all these cultures from other countries. There is no American culture. That's what the same assholes say that are anti-immigrant. Preserving a culture. Oh, you want to preserve American culture, but you're going to take your ass to a Mexican restaurant, aren't you? Which is totally hypocritical. It's like when Trump said he hate all this crap about how Mexicans are so bad, and then he's like on Cinco de Mayo eating a taco salad and saying how wonderful how much he likes Muslims. Well, no, excuse me, hates how good Mexicans are, how he loves Mexicans, but he was just talking crap. But he'll go eat a taco salad or whatever. But anyways, there's all this hatred going on, and these protests are, a lot of them are white supremacists and just straight up haters, and there is no Sharia law in America. There's no reason to believe there is. There never will be because of the Constitution, and this is just hatred. This is people venting their hatred towards people they don't even know. They're working on their prejudices, their fears, and nobody, all these people, they're so worried about the Muslims and the Muslims that they don't seem to care that the majority of all these bad things, attacks and stuff that happen in America are right-wing groups, are white supremacist groups, and not Muslims. Stop being afraid of people because they got different skin color as you, or, well, some of them don't, they might be white, or because they dress different than you, or they have a different religion than you. And remember that when John F. Kennedy was running for president, there was all this propaganda out there that he was going to let the Pope rule America and how they weren't going to let this foreign religion into the country. And that's the same attitude they have now, except it's extreme hatred. It's more reminiscent of the anti-Semitism in Europe right before the beginning of the World War II. But anyways, that's all I have to say about this for now. I mean, you guys out there, spread the word. And this hatred we just can't have this shit. This is not American. You wanna say that Americans can't be Americans because of their religion? Then you need to get the hell out of this country. You need to go to live in Iran and see what a theocracy looks like. Because, I mean, this is what all these Christians, they want a theocracy. That's what it is. That's what it is when people don't have freedom of religion. Go somewhere where you can't have freedom of religion if you don't like freedom of religion. It's not just freedom of your religion. It's freedom of anybody to worship or not worship in any way they wish to, as long as it doesn't break any laws or hurt anybody. We gotta erase the hate, man. Like I said, okay, now for real, I'll see you guys later. Alright.